The 2025 track and field season is officially over, and just a few days ago, the governing body World Athletics released its pick for the top track athlete of the year. Usually by now, the world has a pretty good idea at who will ultimately take the prize as the best in the world. Think Bolt in 2009 when he set his world records, Elaine Thompson-Herah in 2021 when she broke the Olympic record in the 100 while pulling out the mythical triple gold in Tokyo, or think Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone in 2022 when she went undefeated while shattering the world record in the 400 hurdles. This list here on the men's and women's sides is a who's who of track and field greats. We have sprinters, there's jumpers, endurance athletes, and of course, world record legends. Typically, the top choice for the World Athlete of the Year is relatively easy to figure out. You take the most dominant name who's won by the biggest margins, tack on a few meeting records and perhaps a world record, and you've got a recipe for this coveted distinction. But what do you do when you have not one, not two, not even three, but four separate athletes that all seem to be worthy of winning such a title? For this kind of uncertainty, history says that you select the athlete that wins by the biggest margins over their peers, making overall dominance the most important factor in deciding the athlete of the year. Seeing someone genuinely dominate over their competition should make this decision quite easy. Except this year, it is not. Because in 2025, we are seeing various types of history being made. Some took a full decade to achieve, some represent a singular moment that might never be duplicated, and another includes taking down a record that has stood for more than 40 years. If outdoing all expectations was the calling card for such a title, then Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone would have a solid shot at winning here. If versatility and world record running was the highest of all priorities, then Beatrice Chebet would take this crown. If championship records and achieving a world championship triple was the biggest thing to be analyzed, then Jefferson-Wooden would likely win. But then you have an athlete like Kipyegon, whose undefeated reign in the 1500 represents a type of supremacy that we may never see again. If you dig deep enough, it is easy to make a case for any one of these athletes that we just previously mentioned. However, there is one key factor here that should be included in these discussions, and this could be the most important factor of them all, and only one athlete has achieved this. In determining the track athlete of the year, there are three factors that are taken into consideration. 1. The World Athletics Council selects their picks, and this accounts for 50% of the vote. Number 2 is social media voting. Right now, you can actually go over to Instagram and check out which athlete has the most votes on each picture. And 3, the World Athletics family will also cast their votes, and this accounts for the final 25%. Now, just for the record here, I have no clue what the World Athletics family actually is. But no matter which way you look at it, World Athletics has 75% of the voting power here. Now, there's no direct criteria for what ultimately makes each of these athletes better or worse of an option. Now, in terms of versatility and distance running greatness, Beatrice Chebet is certainly the greatest option in this field. She broke the world record in the 5,000 with a time of 13:58. She won the 5,000 and 10,000 meter double in the world champs. And even though her road world record in the 5K of 13:54 technically took place in 2024, it was done on December 31st of 2024. So I would imagine that World Athletics would include such a performance in this review as well, even though it's technically not in 2025. With 2 world records, 2 world championships, and one of the most deadly finishing kicks that I have ever seen, Chebet has clearly earned her presence in the running for this year's World Athlete of the Year. But she will be up against Jefferson-Wooden, who really did achieve next-level greatness in the 100 and 200 meters. In addition to winning the 100, the 200, and the 4x1 at this year's World Championships, Jefferson-Wooden was also completely undefeated in the 100 this season, and she also made history as she even managed to take down Florence Griffith-Joyner's previous record as owning the most sub-10 eights in a single season while also going undefeated. Also, we have to mention that her 10.61 during this year's World Champs was a true race of dominance, as she not only broke the championship record, but she split through 60 in 6.87 seconds, a time that is much faster than the official world indoor record. And while she is clearly set to challenge for the title, she will have to face up against Faith Kipyegon. Since 2021, Faith Kipyegon has not lost a single 1,500 meters, making her winning streak now lasting longer than 4 seasons. In addition to this undefeated record, she also broke the world record this year again in the 1,500, running a 348.68 in the pre-classic. Also, she again won the World Championships, and she now stands as the only 1,500 runner, male or female, in history to have 3 Olympic titles and 4 World Championship titles to her name. So in looking at this year's season, her 1,500 gold in this year's World Champs pretty much made her the undisputed GOAT, and it would be very difficult to argue otherwise. Faith Kipyegon certainly has a great chance at taking this crown, but along with Melissa Jefferson-Wooden and along with Beatrice Chebet, Faith Kipyegon will also have to battle against Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone. Now, what makes Sydney's season so unique is that this was her first real attempt at competing at an event that has not been her primary focus for the past 10 years. Ever since 2016, McLaughlin-Levrone has been extremely successful in the 400 hurdles. She made the Olympics as a teenager back in Rio. She went on to win the gold medal in 2021. She's shattered the world record a total of 6 times, dropping the record all the way to 50.37. But in the 400 meters, she has never really given it a full shot. That was until 2025, because this season, McLaughlin-Levrone somehow outdid every single expectation. If running a new national record of 48.29 in the semis wasn't already enough, McLaughlin-Levrone threw down a 47.78, taking down the previously unchallenged championship record of Jarmila Kratochvílová, whose record went all the way back to 1983, and she is now the second fastest 400 runner of all time, only falling behind Marita Koch's legendary 47.6. We should also mention that this season, McLaughlin-Levrone went undefeated in the 400. She technically went undefeated in the 400 hurdles, as she ran 2 of these events in the Grand Slam meeting. And she once again threw down a legendary number in the women's 4x400 meters in the World Champs again. And this is very noteworthy because she achieved this sub-48-second clocking in the rain. Running a 47.78 was already pretty crazy, but to see such an athlete make a transition away from their primary event when they're at their prime and take down 2 of the quickest 400 runners of all time in Salwa Eid Nasser and Marilady Polino, and to do it in such style, really does make Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone's 2025 a season to remember, and it is no surprise that she is in fact nominated to be the Athlete of the Year. But, like we mentioned, there is one specific achievement that only one athlete has achieved, and I think the best way to look at this in terms of objective fairness is looking at the ultimate challenge of breaking a world record. Now, on this list, only 2 of these runners have in fact managed to set a world record. We have it from Faith Kipyegon this year in the 1,500 meters, as she ran her 348.68. But in terms of multiple world records, that alone goes to Beatrice Chebet, as she ran her 13:54 5K on the road, and she also became the first athlete in history to go sub-14 on the track. Beatrice Chebet was the only athlete that broke multiple world records while holding technically an undefeated record, while winning something that only 3 other people, male or female, have ever won during a global championships, as winning the 5,000 and 10,000 double is certainly one of the rarest things in all of running. And with this in mind, I would love to hear from all of you on who you think should win the Women's World Track Athlete of the Year. Should it be Melissa Jefferson-Wooden? Should it be Femke Bol, Faith Kipyegon, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, or Beatrice Chebet? Thanks for watching, everyone. Until next time.